Welcome everyone to Madison Reed's Hair Color House Party. We are live from our bathrooms, from our kitchens, from all over the US, coming together as a community and coloring our hair together. My name is Heidi and I am part of the Madison Reed team here with you this morning. We know that many of you are coloring your hair for the very first time, and perhaps you have some anxiety about coloring your hair on your own, especially if you are doing an all-over hair color change for the fall. But have no fear, we've got you. Madison Reed is here to teach you, give you tips and tricks, and you can do this. As I look at the screen, I see so many of you, so many of your beautiful faces. You have probably raised children, you've probably navigated careers, and you've dealt with so many challenges that life has thrown your way. And you know what? You can absolutely color your own hair. It's not that hard. We are doing this because we have gotten just so many questions about how to color hair, and we thought it would be fun to do it together as a family. And it's not just fun for us, it has meaning and purpose. For every person who is in attendance today, we will be donating $1 to an organization called Color of Change, which fights for racial justice in America. Now, from the very beginning, Madison Reed has been all about our colorists. 60% of the Madison Reed employee pool are colorists, and they have been the backbone, the heart, and the expertise of this company. And we are just so fortunate to have 3 of our very best expert colorists with us today who have decades, and I mean decades, of experience, not only coloring women's hair, but also teaching and educating women on how to color their hair at home. And I am very honored to introduce to you the team that we have with us today. First up, we have Siobhan.
Hi, everyone. Happy Thursday.
Siobhan has, I love the wave back. Siobhan has been coloring her hair, Jesus, I don't even know how long you've been coloring your hair, but she's been a colorist for 17 years. And a fun fact about Siobhan is that she is our colorist at Madison Reed. And what that means is that she educates all other colorists when they join Madison Reed about Madison Reed hair color and how to apply it. So happy to have you, Siobhan. Next up, we have Jeremy.
Hi, everybody.
Jeremy has 15 years of experience coloring hair. And the fun fact about Jeremy is that he oversees our color bar operations in Texas, Georgia, and Florida. So that's a big job. We call him the hair color magician. Welcome, Jeremy. And the star of the show today is Susan.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome, Susan. We are so happy to have Susan. She is the main star of the show today, and she has over 25 years of hair coloring experience, which means she started coloring women's hair when she was 5 years old. And a fun fact about Susan is that she is a hair color formulator. She is actually the genius behind the over 55 shades of Madison Reed hair color. So she not only understands the process of coloring her hair, but she also understands how the hair interacts with hair color chemistry. So with that, welcome all 3 of you. I am going to turn it over to Siobhan for some housekeeping.
Okay, wonderful. Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be doing this on Thursday evening with all of you. I'm so excited to see some people who are familiar to me. Simone, Marie, I think I see some new faces, Carol, Diane, Marietta. I'm super excited to do this with all of you. This is going to be fun. Here's how we do this. If you've never been here before, we do a lot of live Q&A during this segment. If you want to ask a question to any of our expert colorists, what you're going to do is there's more of you than us, and we want to get as many of those questions in. So try to, if you've got multiple questions, pick your most burning desire question first to prioritize that, because we can only answer 1 question per attendee. And then fear not if we don't get to all your questions, or if we don't get to pick on you in the line for a question. There's an email address we give you at the very end. That email goes directly to me. So if you don't get your question answered here during the segment, just email us at the end. And I'll talk to you this week, and we'll go over your hair color in more detail than we can here, which is great. The other thing is, take a look at your little square that you're living in. If it just says iPad or iPhone and you know you're going to want to ask a question, rename yourself by clicking on the 3 little dots, so that way if you're going to ask a question, we can call on you. So whatever you want to be called, your nickname, your real name, whatever you want it to be, but if it says iPad or iPhone, we won't know who the question's coming from. So make sure you rename yourself. That is all I have for you. Jeremy, you have more info for us?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Siobhan. So, hi, everybody. Super excited to be here, to be a part of the party. So, to ask a question live, you want to actually enter the queue by clicking the participant. This is going to allow you to raise your hand virtually. So, you want to click on participants and then click on raise hand in the lower right corner. So one call out, we're actually just going to mute everybody. So as Susan is actually moving through, that we'll be able to hear her and understand her clearly. So as we actually get to you to actually ask your question, we'll actually call on you, and then we'll actually click on your name and we'll ask to unmute you. How does that sound? Awesome.
Siobhan?
Sorry, I was muted. Sorry for the delay. Let's talk about what we're going to do here. Today, we're going into fall colors. So let's talk about what's inspiring us and what we're going to see today for fall. So we're going to see, if you can all see this beautiful chocolatey, warm brunette. Think warm espresso. Think brunette with an attitude, reflectivity, juicy, a little bit dimensional in the sun. These are the kind of brunettes we're seeing for fall. Let's go to the next slide of our beautiful copper. So this is like pumpkin spice latte, apricot, copper-based red, a natural Irish-looking red. This is going to be super hot for the fall. This is a red that we're loving and that I'm a little jealous of, frankly. Okay, let's go to the next one. That might be my next color. Okay, so this is a red that is not fire truck red. We're thinking copper, golden, warm, persimmon, pomegranate red. Lots of shine, lots of reflectivity. This is going to be a really, really beautiful red for fall. And that one I think is called Vesuvius, if you're curious about it on our site. And then for the grand finale, the most important one, this is called Amaretto. And we're thinking chai latte, cinnamon, red without being a literal red, deep brown based red. And the amazing thing about this one is you're actually going to see this live. So this is what Susan is going to transform her hair into. And this is like a liqueur, a warm, it's everything that you want for fall hair color. So Susan, take us away.
Oh, thank you, Siobhan. And let me just tell you guys, I am super excited about this because not only am I obviously loving talking about hair colour, but I'm really in need. So look at these greys. I'm sure you can see they're looking spectacular, don't you think, Siobhan?
Beautiful greys. I love those greys.
So I'm going to be able to banish those. That's my number one. Secondly, what I'm going to be doing is taking this, which I've loved, and it's been great. And Siobhan and I know that some of you saw us actually do the balayage using Madison Reed Lightworks, where it lightens up parts of the hair. This has been great. But actually, what I'm really looking forward to is being able to completely transform my look into something that looks very fall-like. I'm going for something that's very kind of toasted cinnamon. I want to use Amaretto, which is one of my favourite Colour Reviving Gloss shades because it's so burnished, kind of cinnamony, toasty. And I love all of that. So I haven't been a redhead for a while. I'm quivering with excitement. And I've been thinking about this all week. And actually, what I've done, I just want to mention, is in order to prepare my hair, I've used Prime for Perfection. This is a fantastic Madison Reed product if you are thinking about changing your hair color, because what it does is it turns back time, it exfoliates or removes some of your existing color, which obviously, as you can tell, I'm no stranger to hair color. So I've used Prime for Perfection in order to prepare my hair for the direction that we're going in. You can see I've got lightened bits. It's all to the good, because what you will tell you about is when we use the Colour Reviving Gloss through here, it's going to pick up on these areas and we're going to have something that's very vibrant and bright. So without further ado, I'm going to comb my hair through. It's worth spending a little bit of time not only preparing your hair, but also preparing your surroundings. So here's my box. I've unpacked it already. When you unpack it, you'll find your gloves, you'll find your cap, you'll find your cleansing wipe, you'll find cream to go around your hairline. We've thought of everything for you, so you don't need to think of anything. The only thing that you do have to do is prepare. If you've got a lovely bathroom, which I sadly don't, you have to make sure that you don't get colour anywhere. And then, once you've done all of that, you open up your wipe, you open up your cap, because when I'm going to get pretty messy here, so if you've got colour on your hands, it's kind of not so good if you haven't done that beforehand. So I'm going to get everything sorted. What I'm also doing is I'm going to prepare my equipment. So these are my tools. Today I'm using the Perfect Pair, and we're going to talk about exactly why these two are the perfect pair. What it is permanent colour. This is for my roots. This is Colour Reviving Gloss. That's what I'm going to use through the mid-lengths and ends. So here for coloured hair, this is perfect. Here for those nasty greys, this is perfect. So without further ado, let's open up the box. Let's open up the tube. Let's pierce the tube. And if you're doing this with me, grab your equipment. Here's my activator. I'm going to squidge, and that's a real word, into the bottle. And once the colour's in there, I can shake, 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 put my gloves on, section off, and off I go.
Perfect. So Susan, while you're squidging and mixing and doing all of those really technical things over there, I want to talk to you all a little bit about like the perfect pair, what she's about to do, why we do this, and why we call it the perfect pair. So she mentioned she's going to use permanent color on the roots to cover gray. You got to do that. You have to have something permanent on there to get rid of gray. That makes sense. Forever, women who have been coloring at home have been just putting the color all over every time. Raise your hand if you've done that or if you've been in that category. Lots of women, right? Lots of people, because no one ever told us not to. So we put the color all over our hair. We like it the first time. We keep doing it. We don't like it so much as time goes on, because this is all looking pretty and fresh around the roots. And then this is all looking sad and too dark at the ends. And what's happening? It's getting too much color, too much deposit. It's starting to dry out. It's starting to get too dark. And you're like, why are my ends black and my roots are this pretty brunette? Too much color buildup. So our solve for that is giving you the same system we use in salons, which is called color balancing, where you put permanent up here and a gloss on the mid-lengths and ends. This is usually happening to you with the shampoo bowl and you don't even know it. So this is like insider stuff that you can now have because Madison Reed's just going to give you this information. And Jeremy, this is what we do constantly in Color Bars day in and day out, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Just to piggyback off what you were saying, when you continuously refresh your mid-lengths and ends using permanent hair color, it can really leave your hair really feeling lifeless and really dull. So what I really love about our Color Reviving Gloss is it's really easy to just really refresh or adjust your tone, like we're actually seeing Susan do here today. But what I also love about it is no matter which Color Reviving Gloss tone that you use, we're using our Amaretto today, it leaves an incredible shine on your hair.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're going to get a lot more shine and reflectivity with something like a gloss than you are using permanent color over and over. So
well, I think what's great about it is the fact that, you know, once the hair's been coloured, once it's been chemically treated, we've put the colour on there. We don't really want to do that again.
Mm-hmm.
What can happen is that the colour fades And then if we're putting colour, permanent colour back on, that's not the ideal scenario. So this way you keep the condition great, and not only does it look fabulous, but it also feels fabulous. And it is fabulous because the hair is kept in tip-top condition. What I always say to my clients is, it doesn't matter about the colour. If your hair is not in good condition, it's never going to look good. And one of the things that we really focus on at Madison Reed, because we really want to make sure that your hair stays in the best possible condition. And that's why we use the ingredients we use. That's also why we use the methodology that we use by using the perfect pair, because it keeps your hair in best possible condition. It helps with the fade. It helps.
So Susan, while you're doing this, I want to walk everyone through something that, a couple things that I think are important. So if you zoom in on what Susan is doing here, we're talking about gray coverage right now. She's going to hit those roots first, starting, the sections in the front are where you want to start. And she's using the bottle on one side. She's going to use the bowl and brush on the other, just so you can all see everything. Either way is totally fine, whatever you have. And Susan, are you able to take one baby step closer to the mirror or your recording device? Okay, perfect. So you can see that she's using the nozzle of that bottle to take her sections nice and skinny. That's what you want. That's how you ensure the best gray coverage. And that product is going on there nice and thick, like Greek yogurt, like icing on a cake. That's the consistency we're looking for. Lots of times when we aren't seeing the gray coverage we want, you guys, it's because we just don't have enough product on there. Because it's hard to do when you're not really able to see everything yourself. So I love that. That looks nice application, Susan. Good job. Like you've done this before.
It's actually, I have to say, when I colour people's hair myself, which when I'm doing it on someone else, it is much easier than when I'm doing it on myself. So don't feel bad. 25 years experience kind of looks messy.
Yeah, and the other thing is, if you're watching this and you've got short hair or a pixie cut, and this kind of sectioning is not going to make sense for you, do not sweat it. You don't have to section, because the bottom line is, if your hair is this long, a couple inches long, you're going to be getting a trim before that hair gets too dark on the ends anyway. So for longer haired people, she's preserving that lighter hair. If your hair is shorter, don't stress about trying to section it out, because it won't stay where you put it. Short hair doesn't like to behave like that.
That's absolutely right. And I think, honestly, you can see that this is kind of not really a technical process. If you get colour on your skin, which is what I've done here, first of all, I've got my insurance policy. So I've put my cream on to stop it from staining. And you can see that really all you need to do, put plenty on. And then if there's too much on the skin, just use your fingers and pull it off. So there's the first section. I'm now going to be using my bowl and brush. There we go. I've put colour in there already. I like to use a bowl and brush sometimes because it's more precise. If you don't have a bowl and brush, no big deal, because you don't need one. I like to use it because I like using bowl and brush. I also am perfectly happy with an applicator. It just really depends on what you have, more importantly, because we don't want to put off covering the greys just because we don't have the right equipment. Everything that you need is in the box. This is just a nice.
It's a nice to have, not a must have.
Exactly.
Yeah. So if you don't have the bowl and brush, don't despair. You're going to be just fine. Is anyone coloring right now with us live? I want to look through. I think Marietta, are you just taking notes today? I'm going to unmute you.
Okay. I'm taking notes today because I just got the first subscription. I subscribed and I just got my first box, and I'm so excited because I really am seeing the gray roots. So I
Mhm.
really look forward to this so I can do it the right way, because I notice I buy my color from the drugstore. After a few days, I see the roots again. I said,
Yep.
there's something wrong.
Okay, we got your back now. You're with us now. So we're gonna keep you. Don't you worry. Yeah. So what you're seeing here, Marietta, is I think first of all, the great coverage with Madison Reed is incredible. The ingredients are amazing. The product doesn't smell. There's so many good things about this product. But the consistency of it, the way that you can see exactly where it's being put, it's super thick, super creamy. It's made at a professional grade. And that's what kind of separates Madison Reed from the competition, quite honestly, is because it is really, I mean, Susan formulated it herself. She can speak to the quality of it.
Absolutely. And lots of people ask questions about, well, what is it that makes Madison Reed different from what you can buy in the drugstore? And you know what? It is a really different formulation because it's pre-mixed. So in a salon situation, when you go in to have your hair colored by a professional colorist, usually what the colorist will do is mix 2, maybe 3 shades together. And they'll do that because for a coverage, there'll be one for tone. So if you want copper or if you want ash, by mixing both of those shades together, and I know, Jeremy, this is what happens in the color bar all the time. People want that complex mix. But with Madison Reed, what makes it great is that those colors are actually right there in the tube.
Mm-hmm.
It's pre-mixed, it's put in there. You don't need to think about anything else. Going to the color bar is amazing because obviously you can have somebody professional help you choose the color and put the color on for you, which is fabulous. But you can very easily do that yourself at home.
So Susan, before you move to the back, because I want everyone to pay attention to this, we get tons of questions about how do I apply to the back when I can't see what I'm doing. So we're going to walk you through that nice and slow. If anyone has questions about your own color, any application Q&As, anything like that, just remember that you can click participants and then hit raise hand, and you can get in line to ask your question. So let's cut back over to see the back of your application.
Wonderful. So I'm working blind here because it's what you do when you work on the back. So I'm using my comb to just feel how that's going to split the hair that's up the back in 2. So I'm going to turn around. If you can't hear me, tell me.
Okay.
You might be through it, guys. So we can see there that that's what I try to do is get it as straight as possible. I'm now going to take my nozzle and I'm feeling for the scalp. And I can feel it there. Is it coming out? It will be in a second.
You'll feel the cold.
Yeah. So I can feel it's doing that there. I'm going to try and put it all the way down. And as I'm doing that, I'm kind of wiggling it so that I can wiggle my fingers at the same time and work it into the hair. And then I'm going to try and take straightish sections and work on one side. How am I doing?
It looks so good. You said straightish, but that's pretty straight. I have to say, it's like you've got eyes in the back of your head, honestly. Yeah.
With the nozzle. So,
Put it a little thicker there, Susan. Do that section one more time. That was a little thin.
Okay. Good job you're here.
I know. We've got your back literally now. This part, for everyone who is watching Susan do the back, do not stress about every little hit. You're not going to see everything. You're going to do it by feel. And my favorite thing to tell people is once you put the product on all of these sections, go back in with your gloved fingers and massage it through at the root, because that's how you're going to get that matte motion all over those roots, is by feeling. You can't see, so you're relying on your other senses to guide you through. So you'll feel the cold on your scalp, go in with your fingers, give yourself a little scalp massage in the back and work that product through.
Yeah. So I'm trying to do that. I've got lots of hair. So I'm feeling that I mostly got the colour. How's it looking?
It's looking pretty good. You're doing great.
It looks great. One call out that I wanted to say, I'm super happy that Susan actually showed both applications, bowl and brush and bottle, because just being in the color bar talking to clients, we have a lot of clients that actually prefer to use both. It's super easy. They like bowl and brush in the front to get a clean application, but when you can't really see the back, that's where the bottle really becomes convenient. So, but as Susan is working through this, a great question that we always get commonly is, when do you actually set the timer? So you actually set your timer after your root application is actually done. But, you know, Susan, one thing that I always recommend to all guests when they're coloring at home is to really go back through and to really cross-check. Make sure that they don't see any gray, any dry spots. That way that they get even coverage. So can you just show us and talk to us a little bit about that?
Oh, yes. So this is actually pretty important. I've been through and obviously put the colour on, and you can see where I've done a pretty good job here. Now this, not so much. So I'm going to take my brush and add some colour. I could also do this with the applicator very easily. So I could just add some colour there. I try to go behind the hairline using the applicator floss, just because, you know, I mean, Madison Reed's great because it doesn't actually stain your scalp like lots of colour does. It works off really easily. So I like to go back and just kind of, you know, those are the bits that are important, just saying. And then this is how we go. So if we were being very technical, we would call this cross-checking. And that's because what we did was go this way first, we're going this way. And really what I'm doing here is trying to look for any areas where it's not brown. So I can see if there's anything that I need to zap.
Mm-hmm. And you'll see those little sparklers standing right up on edge. If you're watching this and you have resistant gray, you know the story very well. They're wiry, they fight back, they have an attitude, you put color on them and they literally rise right back out of the color. Those are the guys we're looking for. Yeah, get them, Susan.
Then what you need to do is just slam them down. And that's what I'm looking for here. So,
okay, Susan, while you're slamming down those grays, we're going to take a little question. Are we ready for this?
Fabulous.
Okay, so Carol, hi, I see you. I'm going to ask to unmute you. So I'll give you a quick second to unmute yourself. 1 sec, here we go. Hey, Carol.
Hi.
Hi.
I've been using Sardinian red, and I frequently think it's too maroon-ish color. And I'm wondering about choosing something different. So this part about not doing the same thing over and over, I've done that like 3 or 4 times. So maybe that's my problem. But initially I like it better when it's faded. So that's my question.
Okay, so you're saying maroon, which makes me feel like what you're using right now has too much reddish and not enough copperish. Do you wish it was a little more coppery goldy and not quite as red?
Well, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
A little lighter, you know.
A little lighter too.
Yeah, not so solidly strange.
Okay, well, I'll tell you, it doesn't look strange, but I have a couple recommendations for you. So recommendation number 1, anytime you want to go lighter, everybody write this down, pin this, commit this to memory, because this is the number 1 place where people get in trouble with home hair color. Hair color, unfortunately, we all wish it did, doesn't lift, lighten, or remove any other previous hair color. Meaning, if I have black hair dye and I use blonde hair dye, it's not going to turn my hair blonde. Now, that's an extreme example, right? But it works the same even when colors are closer. If you've got a dark red and you want to move to a little bit of a lighter red, we've got to get a little bit of that buildup off first before you put new color on. That's where that product called Prime for Perfection that Susan was talking about is going to be a lifesaver. And I'm telling you, your hair is going to actually feel better after you use it. So get yourself a bottle of that. Carol, on you, it's going to have enough applications for 2 uses. You'll be able to put it on, wait 20 minutes, rinse it out, put it on again, 20 minutes, rinse it out. Then I want you to look up a color called Como Light Brown, COMO. That's a golden mahogany in a light brown, and I think that's probably closer to where you want to go. Or look up Genova, GENOVA. That's a copper golden light brown. That's going to take you more into like that, the first slide, the second slide that we saw, that was that coppery apricot-y. Check those out. I think those are more your direction. And you'll see which one you love more when you look them up. If I didn't answer your question though, ping me with an email after the show and we'll talk and we'll go over it. Cool? Okay. All right. Susan, bring us up to date with where you are. What are you doing over there?
Oh, I'm on the good bit now. Part of what's great is, when I was a little girl, I used to love making mud pies. We do that in England. Basically getting messy. And this is such fun to use. You can see how quickly it's working through my hair. And I've got lots of hair, as you can see. So I've opened up my Colour Reviving Gloss. The consistency, it's like honey, actually. I like to think it's like a runny honey. You can use it both by putting it on your hands and working it through your hair. And you can see how it's just, my hair's going, because it's so happy. It's going to be this cinnamon toasty colour. I'm not having to be super careful. These are 2 different products. Where we've got permanent colour, obviously that's through the root area. That's covering my grey. This is going to be what's going on top of my lighter, the hair that's already coloured. And I almost want to say it's a bit like, and I know we've all got, Jeremy and Siobhan, I know you guys have your favourite words, but I always think this is a bit like using lip gloss on your hair. Mm-hmm. It's like a tinted shine shield. So what's going to happen is that this, and you can probably see, it's on that very light hair, and it's almost like a toasty branded cinnamon colour. And obviously where my hair is lightened, and those of you who have lightened hair, which I know there's a ton of you out there that do, will know that your hair, once it's lightened, it's going to be super absorbent. And that's going to work for me here. So I don't have to worry too much about where the roots meet the lengths. I don't want to be applying the colour directly on here. I don't want to do that. What I'm doing is I'm holding my hand away and then just putting the colour onto while it's holding the hair and then working it in. That's one way of doing it. You can also, I know your preferred method is a little bit different, isn't it, Siobhan?
Yeah, I do this thing that Susan thinks I'm actually making my life more complicated. I might be. I like to put the gloss in my hand and then kind of sandwich the hair in between and get it on both sides of the hair. That just works for me. But you can do the sandwich method. You can do the pour on method. As long as you're getting it on there and rubbing that stuff in, it's going to do its job. So it's totally dealer's choice here.
The thing about this type of color is you can't go wrong. It won't over process. You can't leave it on for too long. We usually leave it, this one, I'll leave it probably about half an hour, because by the time I finish putting the color on the ends, that'll be about the time that my roots will be finishing.
Yeah.
So it's going to be about 35 minutes. If you're using a lighter shade, and we've got tons of shades in Colour Reviving Gloss, so the blondes we don't leave on as long, do we?
No, they've got a little bit of a shorter window. Plus, as blondes, we all know our hair can be a little dry at the end because we didn't get blonde probably from the sun. We got there through chemistry. But yeah, I think, the great thing about gloss is there is a little bit of wiggle room.
Yes.
We do have some folks who are waiting to ask a question. Jeremy, I'm going to have you ask the next question, but really quickly before we go to the next question, for all my note takers, I want to leave you with a couple of the super important parts about using roots and gloss together. So number one, like Jeremy said, set your timer, put your roots on, set your timer then, and then do your gloss. Because the gloss is just going to hang out while the roots are on. Gloss needs less time, so set your timer first, let that start cooking, then put your gloss on. I shouldn't say this in front of my phone, but using Siri is a really good way to set the timer so you don't have to mess with your phone with your gloved hands. So set it for 45 minutes for those gray roots, get the gloss on, let it go the whole time. Don't worry about having them touch. You don't have to be too specific. Just don't overlap them, but if they touch a little, no biggie. The other thing that I hope you guys are noticing is Susan is not being very scientific about this application of gloss. A lot more careful, a lot more skinny sections with radiant cream color or permanent color. But gloss, you can take bigger sections and just work it through because it is like a gel. So don't stress out too much about application for gloss. So just make sure you have those things in mind when applying gloss. Okay, Jeremy, I'm done talking. Let's do a question.
Yeah, so Maria, I see that you actually have your hand raised. So is it okay if I unmute you? Okay, awesome. Can you hear me?
Let's see. Maria. Oh. What we can do is, Maria, if you aren't unmuted now, and if you can't unmute, we can come right back to you. How about Sandra? Jeremy, you want to? Yeah. I think Sandra's out there. Okay.
Hi there.
Hi, Sandra.
How are you?
Good.
So my question is, I do a color that's like for a dark blonde, but I have lots of gray that's very, very hard to color. So they've had me color it and use some heat, with a hairdryer on the cap. But it gets really faded and I get looking really light because I live in Florida and I'm a golfer and I'm outside a lot. So I kind of don't know what to do with it.
Okay, awesome. So, yep, there's a couple different variables. So you definitely, I'm going to recommend if you have a high percentage of gray, as you say, you're more so in the blonde shades. I would love if you would be able to send us a picture at the end. That way we can really get a great look at your hair and some different lighting to really recommend the best shade. Okay. But I'm thinking in the top of my head, our knockout series. And so our 8.5 triple N is our Umbria. And so I'm really, really thinking that would be a great option for you. But there are some variables when you're outside in the sun, and natural sunlight can cause some natural oxidation, which will actually cause it to lift faster.
Yeah, and one of the things that I think could help you too, Sandra, is I think Jeremy may have gone a little, had Wi-Fi issue, is what you're noticing fade fast. Is it your ends that are fading fast and getting too light?
It's everything.
It's everything. You might really benefit from the color therapy mask because that is going to put color back in your hair while it's conditioning. And so you're not having to do an extra step. You're going to be using your conditioner anyway, and that will just help repigment your hair over time because that sun is, it will definitely fight your color. So I think the 8.5 NNA for the roots is an amazing choice. And then I would use the Dorado Golden Blonde color therapy mask ongoing. And that's going to be
that one again, Dorado?
Yep, Dorado. And that's a golden mask. And it just deposits color at the same time that it deep conditions. So the great thing about it is it's not an extra step. Like you're going to shampoo and condition anyway, and this will put color back in your hair. But I do agree with Jeremy. Email me after this just so I can look up your account, look at the color you're using now, and then I'll make sure we get you set up with the right color and the right recommendations to
Okay.
keep that looking fresh longer, for sure. Because I want to make sure you get the right thing.
Okay, and to get to you directly, then how do I email you?
Yep, it's going to be the email that we show at the very end of the segment.
Okay. It's not hard to do once I got the hang of it watching her now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to worry about the back as much.
That's right. That was your takeaway.
Yeah, but my grayest just doesn't want to color at all. And I have lots in the front and not much in the back.
Yep, that dark blonde for resistant gray is going to be best friend. So make sure you email me because we want to get you set up with that. That's going to be perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
thank you.
good question.
And
Okay.
can I just jump in on that, because
Sure.
what you were talking about was color therapy, which is what I've got here. So the color therapy is also what I'm going to be using on my hair to refresh this color, because just like when we were just saying now, that when your hair is porous and it is lightened, obviously when you wash it, when you go in the sun, it does lift. So this is ideal because it actually takes it back to the way that your hair was when it was very first colored. So you can get that fresh look just by using this. Super easy, 5 minutes in the shower, use it instead of a normal conditioner, and you're good to go. So that's what I'm going to be doing with mine.
Okay, are we ready for another question? Okay, Maria, we're going to try again. Can we unmute Maria? All right. Maria, are you with us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, hi.
Okay, 2 quick questions. I have the opposite problem. I've used the color twice now. I didn't even know about the gloss until your session I saw. And my hair, I live in Colorado and we're really and I live in the Mile High City, so it gets lighter. More golden. I'm using Ravinia Brown, which I love the color, and it goes on really well. But it gets lighter, so it's like it's lifting over time. And then the second time I used it, I put the color all over, as said, pull through to the ends, which I did, but I didn't even know about the gloss. So I'm thinking, instead of putting more color on it each time, I should get the gloss.
There you go. You got it. You totally got it. You're a colorist now. So here's what's happening. When we're pulling the hair color through over and over, we're getting this weird deposit, but you just brought up a beautiful point. Why is my hair getting too lightened? Here's why. Because we're using a color that has a developer on it, and it's drying the hair and it's increasing the porosity. Porosity means how something absorbs water. So with that, when your hair has increased porosity, it's letting pigment out. It sucks up color fast, and then it lets it out fast. So you're getting this super fast fading, and you don't know why. That's why. The hair just needs to be whipped back into shape. So your perfect hair is going to be the Ravenna Brown that you're using. Keep on with that. And then it's going to be espresso gloss. And espresso is good for really pretty, rich, dark brunettes, and it fights off grassiness. So if you're a brunette and you keep getting red and you don't want it, espresso is your best friend. Yeah. Oh, sorry. 1 second. I'm going to try to unmute you one more time, Maria. Go ahead. Do I have you?
Okay, just real. The other problem I have is for days, I walk every morning 5 miles and I perspire on my walk. It's my workout.
Yep.
And the bleed, the color, even though I've used the whole product, it keeps bleeding, and I've ruined a hat or two. And I wanted to know how I could prevent the color bleed. Is there something, a sealer or something that I can use that will prevent bleed on my pillow and on my hats?
Yes, you're asking the best questions ever. Thank you so much for coming. Okay, so a couple things. I think that using the gloss and fixing the porosity is going to help with that, because that's part of your hair letting go of color. Number 2, there is a little cute deep conditioner that we sell. It's called Pro Boost. There's one called Seal. It's exactly what you're asking for. It's amazing. It's $5. You put it in, it stays in for 3 to 5 minutes, rinse it out with cool water. That's going to make a difference for you. Yeah. Okay. And then anybody too, if I call on you and we do a couple questions back and forth and you still have more questions, please email me at the end. I love to hear from you guys and I will get back to you. So I know that Sarah has been waiting forever. Sarah from Sarah's iPad. Give me one quick second to pop over and unmute you. Sarah. Hi, Sarah.
Oh, go ahead.
There
Hello.
we go. I hear you. Hi.
Okay, so I have 4C here, and I put lots of oil in my hair, or not lots, but I put oil in my hair. So my hairdresser was saying because I put oil in my hair, that's why my color comes out so fast.
Mm-hmm.
Is that true?
It can be. It can be. So for those of you who don't know what 4C is, she's referring to a curl pattern type, and this can be this can impact a lot of things. When we put anything in hair, it's, you know, your hair is a finite amount of space, and for one thing to go in, it's got to kick something else out, right? And that makes a lot of sense. So if you're coloring your hair and then you're putting in oil, which is big molecules, it needs to wedge itself in there, so it'll knock out some color to do that. So that's why most of the time, you know, when you look at deep conditioners, we're moving more toward these cream-based deep conditioners that are amino acids and ceramides and those types of ingredients. So I would move toward a cream-based deep conditioner over an oil, and that's going to help preserve your color. Cool. Okay. Susan, do we need to check in with you up there? You're kind of quiet over there.
I am quiet. I'm listening to George's voice, my darling. You've got so much advice.
So
it's always good.
What I want to point out about your beautiful presentation here with the cap is if you are struggling with gray coverage, use the cap that's in the kit. It's you know, I know sometimes we're like, oh, it makes me claustrophobic, I don't feel like it. It really helps to trap in the scalp heat and help the color cook up and work. And this is what someone brought this up earlier. In the salon, they'll put me under heat and I'll get a little bit more help with the gray coverage. This is our version of you doing that at home safely. Use the plastic cap. It traps in the scalp heat from your body and helps with that gray. And it looks beautiful. Look at Susan. She looks wonderful. Susan, jump in the mix and take a question.
I'd love to. Thank you for asking me. So I can see that S. Watts, my darling, are you there? Can I unmute you? S. Watts?
You most certainly can unmute me.
Hello.
How are you?
Gorgeous you look.
I'm covering my gray.
Good idea. So what question, my darling? How can we help you?
I have like 3 questions consecutively.
Can you give us your hairiest question?
No, it's in general order of everything you've been doing.
Okay.
My first question is, how many tubes of the color did you use, being that your hair is so long?
Okay. So my hair is well spotted, but my roots are probably about.
Right.
So generally speaking, there's more than enough color in one tube.
One tube. Okay. That answers that.
Doing the roots. You should.
Okay. And then
a whole head, you may need more. So.
Right. But when you color it, you're only coloring the roots with the permanent color, correct?
Yes. So because I have permanent color, I'm not going to put permanent color here. I'm only doing my roots, and the permanent color covers the gray. On the ends, I'm doing the color reviving gloss.
Okay, so I'm a little confused. I haven't colored my whole hair, but I want to, and I just ordered the amethyst, which I usually use the browns. I can't think of the name of the brown that I last ordered just to color my roots, which I'm fine with the roots. I get a little nervous when it comes to color lifting, not taking all the color out. My real stylist will be very upset with me when I come back with all these colors in my hair that I've been doing since COVID. But hey, this is a great time to practice, right? And save a nickel. How about that? But so to color your roots, do you do a different color than the color of the hair?
So, and that's a great question. It depends what you want to do. So most of the time when we just do the roots, we're doing a maintenance color. So what we'll be doing is using a color that we've used before or a color that's similar to what we've used before. So I had a Dosolo brown, which is 6.5 NNA.
Yes, I had that.
I'm using 6 NAC. So it's still the same level. It's a different tone. It's got more copper. It's like a soft mix of cinnamony, browny, chocolatey colors, which is different from what I had before. And that's why I did the kind of treatment that I did with the Prime for Perfection, just because it's a good way to prepare the hair. Now, it sounds to me as if you're changing your color.
Yes.
Is that right? So are you going for something that is darker, lighter, or the same level?
I would say the same level because the amethyst is still dark tones.
Right.
But my roots, I have roots and forward in the front, the gray. So it sounds like I should get the DeSoto brown for the roots and then color the hair with the amethyst. And
so I think that the amethyst is, and Siobhan, please do jump in because I know that your knowledge of the names is superior to mine. Yeah. So I think amethyst, we're looking for something that's quite plummy, right?
Yes.
So what you'll find is if you use that on your roots, you've got grey, I assume.
Yes.
You probably will find that that will not match. So this is what I'm going to get you to do because I'd love to hang out and talk to you forever and a day.
I know, right?
It's lots of questions. So till the end and then email Siobhan because Siobhan, that would be your best way to get something that's absolutely gorgeous. And you totally can, but I don't think you'll be able to get it if you go that route. So can you do that for me?
Sure, absolutely. And then the last question is just the other two products that you put on the hair. What was that?
Yes. So first of all, permanent color through the roots.
Yes.
And that's my usual blue tube. Then on the mid-lengths and ends, color reviving gloss. The shade I've used is Amaretto. There's actually lots of shades. So if you look at color reviving gloss, you've got a ton of choice there. Just how much red you want, how much brown you want. And then to keep the color fresh, this is our newest product. And, you know, when we make these products, it's really hard for me to let it go out into the world, but I've had to. So this is the newest baby in our little family, and it is amazing stuff. So what I'm going to do, and you can see I'm going to jiggle it out there for you. We've got a really fabulous kind of, this is one of the colors, and you can see I'm making it all messy there. So this is a really gorgeous, deep cinnamon, toasted pumpkin kind of color. Perfect for fall, obviously. There are others, and there's more coming. Oops.
And those are wonderful. The best thing about them is that, and this is my favorite thing, low maintenance. You don't have to do an extra step. If you're going to use conditioner anyway, you may as well be conditioning and coloring your hair at once. I love a one-stop shop. So thank you, Susan. Great formulation on that one. Okay, Terry, I am going to ask to unmute you now.
Hi.
Are you with us? Hey, Terry.
Okay, I have a couple of questions.
Okay.
I'm putting the whole tube on the roots, and then the whole tube of the, y'all helped me a lot. Go to the Portofino, Red, and then Barillo.
Yep, perfect.
But I have only ever had highlights before when my colorist was doing it with foils. And so when I went to get a haircut, I said, has all my hair fallen out because of COVID? He said, no, you have just as much hair. It's just that you're not used to having all this dark next to your pale skin. So I look bald. I feel it looks like I have bald spots because, I keep trying to arrange my hair so that you can't see my scalp. And I don't know if that's, I'm doing something wrong or if there is a thing or whatever.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't think you're doing anything wrong. I see Nettie nodding along like this is a story she's had herself before. Carol. Yeah. Okay. So this is a familiar issue. I think your hairdresser has hit the nail on the head. I think that what happens is when we're used to seeing lots of different colors throughout our hair, it looks like there's more going on and it's deeper. And when you put dark up against light, you're going to notice a difference, right? Like vanilla chocolate swirl, you're going to see like that's dark. I mean, look at that parting. It looks like it's a half an inch wide. It's not. It's just this is dark and that's light skin. So I think that one thing that if it's really bugging you and you're just like, I can't stand this any longer, is you could use the root touch-up powder on the scalp to soften that line, so it's not looking quite so stark. And that's literally just a compact powder, and you could apply that right there. And the other good thing is it absorbs oil and gives you a little lift at the root, and it covers gray. So that's going to be a good solution. And then if you're just like, I want to be red, I know that, but I also want dimension, you could use the Lightworks to give yourself some of those hand-painted balayage pieces to break it up. That'll make your hair look more full. And Terry, the one you want to use is the Caramel Lightworks kit, because that's going to keep you with dimension, really pretty sort of multi-tonality, and keep them caramelly with your pretty red hair. And if that didn't fully answer, email me at the end and I'll make sure that you do get answered. Okay, Susan, do you want to do the honors and take us on with one last question?
It's such a word. Natalie, I'm going to ask to unmute you. Are you there, my darling? Natalie Thibodeau. I'm trying hard to unmute you. I'm trying really hard. Can I unmute you, Natalie? There. Are you unmuted? Yes. Can you talk to me? Natalie? No. How about Diana? Can I unmute you, Diana? Where is Diana? There we go. Diana, are you there, my love?
Hello, how are you?
Oh, what a lovely photo, Diana.
Oh, thank you. That photo was taken before I started using Madison Reed. Right now I'm using, I think you say Trieste.
Mm-hmm.
Trieste red. So it's darker than what I have in the picture, and I would prefer a little bit lighter, and I'm not quite sure how to do that.
Right, okay, so Trieste, Siobhan, which number is Trieste?
That's 5 NRM.
Okay, so we're going to need
cherry cola.
That cherry cola.
Yeah.
Which is gorgeous. Are you wanting to go a little bit lighter and keep the same type of cherry cola, or do you want to go for something that is more coppery like it was before, my love?
Oh, I'm driving. I can't hear everything you say. I want to go a little bit lighter.
Okay.
But I don't want anything too drastic. I mean, I like the color that's in the photo, but again, the sun is hitting my head. The Trieste, I know when I first used it, and even when I still touch up, when I look at myself, it's just too dark.
Okay. So what I would suggest is that you do two things. First of all, that you change the formula a little. So instead of going for a level 5, which is the 5 NRM, that's Trieste, you want to go for the level 6. And the number is 6 NRR. And Siobhan, you know what that's called, don't you?
Yep, that's called Portofino.
Okay, Portofino, right. So use that one instead. And then when you do that, before you do that, I would suggest that you use the Prime for Perfection, and then switch to, rather than taking the colour through the ends of your hair, I would go with using Colour Reviving Gloss, and the shade I would use is Barolo, because that will be a better choice for refreshing the colour on the ends. If you take the permanent colour through the ends, oftentimes it will build up, and that's why using Colour Reviving Gloss is a great idea on the hair that's already coloured. I hope that makes sense for you, my darling. I know you're driving, so that might be difficult. So if you make sure that you email Siobhan will remember. She's got a fantastic memory, and she's gorgeous, and she's good above and below the hairline, all of those things. So she will know exactly who you are, and she'll know exactly all of that information. So I don't think we've got time for any more questions, have we, Siobhan?
No, I don't think so. We've got to go tonight. I'm sorry. Please email me. I'll respond to you over the next couple of days, and we'll get into really good detail about your color. But thank you, guys.
And this concludes the Madison Reed Hair Color House Party. But wait, we have some information for you to share with you. If we did not answer your question, please do email us. And here is the email that you should be sending your questions to. It is Hair Color House Party, all one word, at madison-reed.com. Hair Color House Party, all one word, at madison-reed.com. If you have additional questions, that email will go straight to Siobhan, and she will respond. Secondly, the party does not end. So we will be having another Hair Color House Party. Tell your friends about it on Wednesday, October 14th at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. You will know when we're having it by looking at our social channel on Facebook. You can look up Madison Reed on Facebook or on Instagram, and we will be posting those dates there, and you can sign up through there. Until next time, we hope you enjoyed this session. We hope you learned a lot. Stay safe, stay well, and happy coloring. See you next time. Bye from all of us at Madison Reed.